Is it rolling? Okay. Keep me on track.
Yeah, all right.
Just don't throw things.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hit bad. And he yells all
What,
the time.
We're on.
Good morning. It's 9:30, official time for our Board of Commissioners work session. So I think Jason Seidel is here to talk
Yes.
to us, to give us an update. What's your
Yes, I am.
extension?
Yes. Good morning. Thanks for letting me come in. I wanted to, like we talked a couple months ago, bi-monthly update, coming to visit you folks. So here's one for each of you. Also brought with me Erin Mancuso. She is our new office associate. Been with us since the April? Yeah, April. Cindy's replacement. So doing a very wonderful job, and glad to have her on board, and wanted to formally introduce her to the commissioners there. So,
Nice to meet you.
in terms of things at the office, obviously it's the week before fair, so we are very busy on the 4-H side of things with projects and judging and state fair and things like that, getting ready. Quick line from the Ohio State side of things. They're changing their branding. You'll notice on our new name tags here, it's just instead of the block red, like is on the letterhead, they're now going to kind of a straight line that says Ohio State University across the top of it. So we're going to be ordering some new letterhead envelopes, things like that. And at some point in time, they'd like us to change the sign out in front there that talks about the office and all that stuff. So that's just a heads up for further down the line.
Yeah.
With Bernie and SnapEd, of course she's still out there, and finished up some of her school programming. She's able to recruit 2 new schools for next fall, so she'll be looking at expanding her program. And by her last count, she figured close to 100 kids between the 2 new schools and all the different classes. And she's waiting and hopefully trying to get in and see what the merger between Old Fort and Bettsville does. And she may be able to have some kids there qualify as well for some of her programs. With the Master Gardeners, they had their plant sale back in May and did very well. And of course, they're still manning the helpline. We've had lots of calls and people with the recent storms, and of course with just spring and summer in general, questions and concerns and all kinds of specimens coming in. Live and dead bugs and leaves and branches. We've seen all sorts of things there at the office, but they're doing a very, very nice job for us of trying to get people's questions answered as best they can. So,
Yeah. There's quite a group. I was at their meeting last week.
yes.
They asked me to come and share a little bit of information about my thoughts with extension, that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
enjoyed doing that briefly with them, and that's quite a group. That's
Yes.
impressive.
Yeah, there are 30-some members. They had 17 go through their new class back in January, I was told. So that brings them up with the 17 new members, that brings them up close to, I think, 33 or 35 is their exact number in
Yeah.
terms of total members, so good sized group.
Just bring this to your attention, you may know it or not, if you're gonna put a sign out in front and so forth, there's funds available through OSS, through a recycling grant,
Okay,
that they'll help pay for the cost of the sign almost completely, I believe. So
okay.
Taking up.
that's one you may wanna talk with Stacy, and we can apply for that and take care of the cost of the sign, so it doesn't have to come out of your budget there.
Well,
Wonderful.
it
Yeah, I know what their
applies to the
cycle is.
competitive funding.
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon?
They have 2 rounds they do for their competitive funds for that money.
Okay,
And
okay.
I don't know what calendar-wise where they're at in
Where
that
they're
now.
at,
I
yeah.
just throw out food for thought, I don't
Sure,
know
yeah.
if you were
yeah.
aware of that. but-
No, I was not, so I'll put that in my notes, and when we get around to, probably this fall or something, we have to start looking at things.
And I can't think of her name, but she's in the building there. The new educator?
The new educator.
Totally drawing a
Oh,
blank.
that's, that Perry.
Oh, Monica Perry.
Monica,
Yeah,
thank you,
yes,
yeah, I
thank
know
you.
Yeah,
she's-
she's
yeah, Mark's
downstairs
her
with
son,
solid
yeah.
waste.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
she,
recycling.
you know, you could probably say, hey, you know, just sometime if you come across that info,
Okay,
you know, obviously she's
yeah.
gonna know.
Yeah,
her
she came out
age.
to 4-H camp for me and did a program for the kids at camp.
Okay.
So, yeah, we worked together a couple times now. Very nice person.
Okay. Good,
All
good
right.
stuff.
Anything else?
What's Aaron's background? Where are you from?
I'm actually from San Antonio County.
Okay, okay,
I was in 4-H for 10 years.
okay,
And I still live outside of Green Springs.
okay, good, good deal.
Good. All right, well, thank you very much. Appreciate you
Okay.
coming.
Thank you, folks, for your time.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
We'll try.
I'm sure we'll see you at the fair.
Oh, yeah, we'll be there.
All right. Nothing else on the schedule, but we can talk about whatever, work session wise. Do we have anything else? Judge Shuff, did you?
I dropped off a letter to the board yesterday. I don't know if this is the right time to do this or the wrong time to do this, but in either event, here we are. The judges have real concerns on the use of the courthouse square space, and you'll see it in our letter. It is signed by both Judge Kelbley and I, and also countersigned by Sheriff Eckelberry. We have some real concerns, especially during normal court hours, having any events there. It interferes with court operations, quite frankly, and especially when we have jury trials going on. As it relates to the one application that you tabled last week, I believe, very much opposed to that application. I have 2 jury trials going on that week, one of which is a sex offense, and one of which is a major drug offense. That's the charges anyway. To have 60, 70 jurors, witnesses, victim families, alleged victim families, defendants' families or friends or whoever may show up, including the general public, it would be inappropriate and a nightmare for the sheriff. So opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. As to others, the courts have some real problems with security. Many of these events should be at Hedgesbury Park, where there is plenty of parking, where there's a 10 or 15 mile an hour speed zone, where there's plenty of space. We still have semis going up and down Market. It's our major east-west thoroughfare or thoroughway through Tiffin. And to have some of these events there are causing the court's concern, whether there's proper facilities, whether there's medical people, whether there's security personnel, whether there should be fencing. So what we're asking, and we talked about, Judge Kelbley and I at depth, is a complete stay of anything there until there's been a proper review to determine what is proper there and what's proper maybe elsewhere. And that is what we're suggesting. Now, we came up with after much discussion between the judges, with a complete stay, because I don't know if you can pick and choose and do it fairly and thoroughly. And then there's some issues dealing with you're violating someone's event.
Yeah.
You have complete power over the space under the law. 30703 says you got complete power under the terms that you prescribed. Well, these old terms that you've had existed when the building was up. And now it needs to be reviewed and looked at. And I would be glad to be part of that review process if you need someone from the judicial branch of government. But we need a review, a complete review, and our suggestion is stay everything till that review's done. If you've granted some, you'll have to decide whether to keep those or not. But in the meantime, we're suggesting a complete stay of everything until there's been a complete review of what's proper. Having 500 kids in the middle of a sex offender case is not very good. And that's just all there is to it. And I'm not sure 500 kids, that's the best place with traffic and everything else. And some of the people that are downtown, the park is a better place for some of these events. So we're asking that you stay and that you have a group that reviews the terms and conditions of the use of the courthouse square. And as I said, I would be glad to be part of that review. Any questions?
I like that suggestion to kind of review it, because it has changed, and that was my concern. I think I brought it up a few weeks ago. I said, wow, I've got concerns with some of these things. We don't know what our future intentions are. We could, at this point, flip a coin. Going to be there, there's going to be another building there. There's not. There's still going to be some green space with the building there, like there was before. But just concerns on what people get used to, those kinds of things, and us, again, just having to police it, I guess, and all of that kind of thing. That was my concern, just, 2-3 weeks ago I brought that up. I don't know, I just like the idea of maybe reviewing it. And even after the review, we may just say, we just best not to mess with this until we know if we are doing something with it. I don't know.
Well, what I would suggest is if we put a time limit on the review of, let's call it a 3 or 4 months period, so we can do a thorough review of it. I mean, personally, I have problems with 300-400 kids out front and people with orange jumpsuits with shackles walking through the doors. I mean, I just don't think that's the type of environment that should be around a judicial system. But I do understand there is usages for that space that I would like to investigate, but I think as things have expanded through the years, I think we need to define better of what are proper uses of that, and not to take it away too long. That's why I'd like to set a time limit. If it's a 90-day stay or a 4-month stay, you know, whatever it is. So at the meantime, there's other studies that are being conducted. We can have those things completed and determine long-term where are we going to stand at with where's this whole thing going to stand at with the annex and the courthouse and so forth and so on. But I personally, the way this thing is coming out, I have a problem with orange jumpsuits and 300 kids sitting there with people in shackles. It just does not seem right to me, and it would be, in my mind, very disruptive to the court system. So I would very much condone a study, as long as we set a time limit on it. We don't want this thing to go on forever and ever and ever. If that space is to be utilized by the residents, you know, of the county, I'd like to utilize it as quickly as possible, but yet make sure that we do it appropriately and we set up parameters of what's acceptable and what's not.
Do the orange jumpsuits come in the back door? They don't go through the front, do they?
Not usually they come in the back, but we've been having door problems. So they'll come in whatever door, maybe. And it isn't always the orange jumpsuits that bother me. There's a lot of people that post out. For example, the sex offender case, I set a high bond and he met it. He is out. So he won't come in the back door. He'll go in the front door, so to speak, if you call it the front door.
Right.
And that is where you have, and it is just allegations of charges, but at the same point in time, it is not a mixture that should be there.
Yeah.
Not when we have the park systems that we have in our community. They're wonderful. We have city parks that are wonderful. We have county parks that are wonderful and up and rising. Some events should not be held next to a courthouse. Not only am I worried about security, what about noise? According to the application, 500 to 650 kids. What's the noise while I have a jury trial going on? And believe me, that building is not soundproof. I know, after being in there since 2004, 10 years now. A defendant has a right to a fair trial. And that means a jury is listening to and hearing the evidence in a case. You can if you hear screaming kids. It's a distraction. So,
I talked to the judge just a moment ago, and currently we have scheduled a farmer's market, a wedding, the Heritage Festival. Best Break has exercises there in the mornings, I guess, which they do on the State House lawn as well. Not Best Break, but other groups. And an arts fair, that must be this fall. Most of those, I think, are weekend type activities. My suggestion is go ahead and set up some sort of a review commission, put Judge Schuff and 2 or 3 other people on this review board to determine what the guidelines should be. But in the meantime, let these things go forward and take each application kind of as it comes. I don't like the big carnival tent we talked about with the Ritz application. But if somebody else wants to use it on a Saturday, they had the Dad's Fest there during the last farmer's market, and that was really a nice event. They had folks in there talking about the importance of fatherhood and just some nice little programs. I think maybe even juvenile court had something out there. I think we could, for month, 2 months, 3 months till this is done, limp along and and approve things one at a time. If we got questions, we could bring it over to you and see if you think it would be distracting.
Well, I don't want to get into the point that you guys think it's okay, but we think it interferes with
Right.
court, and we put a court order on stopping it.
Right.
It's divisive in the community to
Right.
do that, and we're not looking for that. That's why, after long discussions, we thought the best thing, nothing, until we get that review done.
Yeah.
Because now you're picking and choosing which ones. You may pick one, think it's okay, and we're going to say, we don't think that's okay, and now we become,
Yeah, well, somebody's already scheduled their wedding there, and I don't
I'd say
wanna-
whatever schedule you've approved, they're counting on it, I think let it go.
Yeah, that's my question. Can we, what is approved, they've already got plans in place?
You could
Let
probably
those go.
legally say no, but I don't think it's right. If you already said yes,
Yeah.
then I think you let those go. You let those go forward. But from now on, our suggestion, and you see it in there, it's nothing until we get that review done. Because now you're picking and choosing, and you may say, oh, this one's fine, and Holly may say it's fine, Fred may say it's fine, or 2 out of 3, and the judges go, we don't think it's fine, now we're in a divisive situation.
Yeah.
Or the sheriff, because I think the sheriff's got some say here, and that's why he signed on the letter, because he provides security to the court system.
I just don't anticipate that being a problem for 3 months, because it hasn't really been a problem in the past. This is the first time that it's been a problem, and we were gonna probably deny this anyway.
Okay, I didn't know what you were doing, so.
But we were finding out more what it was about. We didn't know
Right.
what it was about, so we asked Stacy to look into it. But I think we definitely need to set up a review board, or
Absolutely.
whatever you wanna call the thing.
Now, whether you pick and choose which ones during that review process, or just say nothing, that's up to you. But my suggestion is if you approved them, they made plans,
Yeah.
they might have even done literature.
Oh, yeah,
Advertising.
I would be very much against disallowing what we've already approved.
I think he approved it,
What
you
we've already
approved it.
approved. And I would be okay that going forward, we put a stay and we commission a review.
And get it
of
done in
this
90
process,
or
and we set a time.
100 days, or
frame.
whatever you decide.
I mean, that would be my recommendation. And on the review board, I would suggest if we could get the sheriff involved with it.
I think the sheriff should be
And
involved,
certainly
or someone from his
you-
office.
Someone from the judicial system, either you or Judge Kelby, you guys decide.
We'll
that
probably
yourself.
both kind of be talking, because we're the ones that are affected, at least during normal hours.
And then I think someone from the other side that wants to use it, such as the Chamber of Commerce, maybe John Detweiler, or somebody could sit on that.
Or Amy Reinhardt, who's the head of
Tiffin tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiffin would be
Yeah,
that'd
that'd
be
be
an
great.
excellent.
Yeah.
Now, since we have the ultimate authority, should one of the commissioners sit on that?
I think,
I would be happy to sit on it now unless one of you would like to do it, but I think it's important enough.
You have the absolute power, so to speak. Absent a
Almost-
court order.
Almost feels important as a judge here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That sounds like a good group, a mix to have, and, one of us, you can do that. And let these activities that Jeff read off, anything we've approved, by all means, let that happen. And this group gets to meeting, and I don't know, maybe give us see how difficult it is to get together at every first meeting. I don't know what the time frame needs to be. I would just say
Well, you got 2 studies going on, and that was one of the other reasons, besides all the reasons I gave you before. There are 2 studies going on. One is the SIEDC study that's been privately funded for the East Tower. Then you have the update of the 2010 downtown study going on by SIEDC. Both of those will directly or indirectly talk about the courthouse square. And both of those talk about, or will talk about, probably the location of a joint justice center down the road. And as a result, this makes sense to do this while those studies are going on and have them run parallel to those studies, which I understand will be done way before the end of the year.
That's what I'm told.
That's what I've been advised, but I don't know if that's what.
And then,
where they're
and
at.
I agree with, then in the process, if it's decided that the courthouse square will stay there, we can have a better definition of what the usages should be versus kind of this.
If eventually there'll be no courts there, you can see how different that would be. If the courts are gonna go, for example, to the East Tower, all of us, then that's different kind of rules and regulations you might have, or if the building is gonna go there, conversely, you might have different rules and regulations, and that's why I think they have to run a little parallel to the studies.
Because there will still, if it does go with the courthouse square, there's still gonna be green space.
There will be green
It
space.
still has to be
There will be
addressed
green
and
space, absolutely.
proper use of it.
And we've used that for 100 years for public events there. I don't want to take that away, I guess. I want public events to happen there. They used to have the Bible reading there and just all sorts of things.
Did you forget your shooting pad?
So I don't want to take that away from the public. I want that space to be used by the public, but we do want to have rules and guidelines and.
I think you need to toughen up what is allowed there and what isn't there. You really do.
It sounds to me like the three of us are in agreement. We continue with what we have there. We
What's
take
been
it-
granted, right?
What's been granted, what has already been granted. We set up a commission, there'll be no more than 4 months.
Force plenty.
On that process, and
Why don't we
Judge,
make it 3? I mean,
3,
they
okay,
can do
that's
that-
fine.
They can do that in 2 meetings, I would
I'm
think.
Yeah,
fine.
you think?
Well, and here's why I respectfully disagree. I think there ought to be, see what other counties have, green space, if you want to call it that, or areas where they have public events, see what rules and regulations they have. So to get those responses back from other counties, we're not reinventing the wheel here, we're just trying to see what others do, our peer group, which is other counties, and go from there on rules and regulations, especially where the green space is next to, at this point, our courthouse. The annex is our courthouse, and this is right next to it, so I think we need to, it may be done in 90 days. We also have 6 murder cases pending,
one thing that
and
we
a
need to
big
make,
drug bust, so.
then we need to make sure it gets in the press. We're very supportive of what they're doing. I just think there's a better place to have it done. I think it's a great suggestion for the Ritz Theater to put up these tents and have these events for kids and have these events like
Absolutely. But the inner circle of the park is much better
Oh,
than next to the court
everything,
facilities.
yeah. Parking.
There's a lot of kids yelling and having a good time at the park, especially at the pool.
That's what the parks are supposed to be for.
The only difference I think we have is I would still consider things as, there may be something, got something planned in the works that they've done the last couple of years. Nothing comes to mind.
Because we already got Heritage Festival on this list.
We've already got
Right,
Heritage
yeah.
Festival and the Arts Fair.
The only other thing, I'm thinking more towards Christmas time with the tree lighting, and those are normal. I don't remember when the,
And would probably be done by then with things.
I just like to leave it open that we would consider if somebody comes and says, hey, I've got this little thing I'm gonna do on a Saturday. I'd like to leave it open to consider that, but I'll do whatever the majority says.
Well, the judges are recommending a stay. You do what you want, but we're recommending a stay of anything you haven't approved already till this study is done, or I hate to use the word study.
Yeah.
Study or say, this review
Long as
of
there's not- long as there's not
terms
a
and
bill that comes
conditions.
with this study.
How about review?
As a compromise to Mr. Wagner, can we do it in 90 days?
You tell us, we'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand clearly where you're coming from, Commissioner, that we just shorten this review up so we can have definition of it, and then we can move forward with it.
And we're gonna have Judge Shuff, you, Amy,
Judge Calbley.
Judge-
Or maybe somebody from the sheriff's representative, maybe 5.
Yeah.
okay, and we're getting mostly government people here. I'm thinking maybe Shirley Smith from League of Women Voters or somebody like that.
See, that's what happens when you come.
Come to the meeting, watch out.
I certainly, John Detweiler would be a great asset. Amy at Tiffin tomorrow.
Maybe 7.
Maybe 13.
You understand, I was on the Blue Ribbon Committee, you know, we had 20-some, that's tough.
Okay.
Long time ago in '01. I would say 7 be okay, maybe. Too big, trying to get everybody there is difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we want to have input from everyone.
They-
Just because they're not on the committee doesn't mean we can't solicit their opinions, their
Sure.
advice, their comments, their concerns.
In your letter, you said that you and Judge Kelby's joint letter,
Okay.
You said that you'd be willing to be on it. I assume one judge could represent.
I think you
both.
don't need both of us on. If Judge Kelbley wants to do it, that's fine with me. Or if I just volunteered to do it because of the recent application at my jury trials.
Yeah.
But I would have input. Judge Kelbley and I
Sure.
discuss matters almost on a
I
daily
think-
basis.
Two judges would be
Probably,
overkill, maybe.
yeah, probably one of us and then the other one consult the other.
Yeah, another suggestion, and I understand you don't want to get too big. How about we invite the Ritz? A Ritz member.
You form the committee. Do I think that's necessary? No, but you form the committee.
Like the idea of a community group representative. and
How many,
in a formal downtown
we've had
meeting.
applications now, how many have come from the Ritz?
This is the first one, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is,
Okay.
it's a one-time application, and they haven't had any that I'm aware of, and I review them every other year. Now I'm gonna review them every year. The administrative judge gets input, Judge Kelbley's administrative judge this year, I am in odd years. Don't make any comments on that. And Judge Kelbley is on even years. And so we review those, they're submitted to us by Stacy. And so we review them and give our approval or disapproval on them. So, I have seen as many as over the 16 years I've been judge, and I've never seen any before from the Ritz.
We would want to communicate to them as soon as possible that,
So you have to decide whether
There's a
it's
stay.
stay for 90 days or whatever you decide, and we'll get working.
Okay.
And probably the chair of that committee should be whatever commissioner,
We'll
because you are in charge of land,
I'm not volunteering.
public land.
we'll try and appoint that next meeting. Does that work for you guys?
Yep, absolutely.
In the meantime, if you do not deny a certain application, I'll have to put on an order, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. You know, like I said, that one during the week, that was
Thank
a
you.
big concern right away. Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Good. Anything else for the good of the order for this work session? We got about a minute and a half to 2 minutes before we formally start our session here at 10.
I got a question.
Sure.
Not having been in court on any criminal charges within the last while,
This is not, this is
excellent.
not
Excellent.
confession.
I would-
This is
I
not
would-
confession.
I was wondering, is there much going on as far as court cases in Saturday and Sunday?
On Saturday and Sunday, no.
What would be wrong with using Saturdays and Sundays,
Yeah, I know.
restricting the other days, maybe totally?
Yeah, that's what this committee's gonna have to look at and determine. But it'll be nice, I think, from my point of view, to have something to look at to say, okay, it didn't meet all the basic things we set, so we don't have to be, no pun intended, making that judgment call on, okay, this or that, or we anticipate, and maybe they're gonna say, no, these kids have to take a nap, or they're gonna be quiet, they're gonna learn patience or something. That was pretty ironically timed.
Would you be willing to serve on the committee, Shirley, if you were asked?
If I were asked, yes.
Well, if you're asking me to be chairman, I'm officially asking you.
I guess we're still on, obviously, for taping, and if no one else has anything else we will go into, formally, it is 10 o'clock. Calling the Seneca County Board of Commissioners session for July 15th to order. If you'll join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rainer, will lead us in prayer?
All right. Lord, we thank you again for this day, for all of the blessings you've given us. Give us wisdom as we decide things today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Of the signing of the journal, and I'd accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from the previous board session from Tuesday, July 8th, and the index of that meeting.
I make a motion we approve as outlined.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
I have two things to bring up that are just minor, one regarding the farm and one regarding Commissioners Association request.
Okay, you want those under old business, or should they be new?
I think they're both new, but I don't care where
Okay.
you put them.
Okay, farm and CCAO, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Fred, do you have anything?
Old business where we stand up with the contract with the RTA building and Klaus Construction.
Okay.
And Commissioners, I walked by that building today. It needs cleaned. It's terrible. It's terrible.
All right, anything else to add?
Yeah.
I'm gonna add, well, I was gonna add the Board of Elections. I'm not sure if they aren't coming back with a proposal. That would be under old business. We caught that as soon as it made the one adjustment, but we'll put it, but if they're not here, I guess we can't do the Board of Election stuff, so. All right, did you have anything?
I just wanna, the aggregation update, just wanna give you a quick update on that, so old business.
That's old business. Okay. All right. Let's get started with the old business, building and group application. I think we probably handled that unless there's anything else to be said. You'll get buds together on a committee and fill us in next week on where things go and what your thoughts. Board of Elections, if they, oh, yep.
Are you gonna make a determination on the pending application? Because you said you're not gonna take that up till next week, or maybe you're gonna wait.
Well, I think in light of all things, we should just let the Ritz know that it's not,
Yeah.
we don't feel it's appropriate at this time to have.
And I, respectfully agree with the judge, presiding judge has declined it, right?
Yes.
He said no, I mean, and I would agree with that, and so, yeah, we'll communicate to them.
Mhm.
And I did
You will
get
commit-
one yesterday morning as well. I got another request. So,
I would share the thoughts that we're not sure where,
Okay.
this has been a process that started as theirs was coming in, I guess. Okay.
And then am I assured that, go ahead and start a committee with that and.
We'll formally appoint them next week with
Next
a
week, okay.
resolution, but I think it's you and Shirley and Schuff and somebody from either Tiffin tomorrow or the chamber or both.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll do that next week then.
yep,
Okay.
good deal, thank you.
Yep, set up a date if you want, set up a date. I mean, a meeting date.
All right, the RTA building and the contract,
Yeah, where do we stand at with that?
Tanya's got the contract back, and she's got, I'm trying to remember, I think her name was Becky, is giving her a time frame. She was gonna check with the guys that are actually gonna do it to figure out the time frame when they'd actually get started. From the time we get the contract signed until they'd actually begin. And as of yesterday, Tanya didn't have a reply back, but she does have the contract back, so we can get that, we'll get that done.
So there has been communication with Klaus, because I was
Yes.
talking with Lenny himself, he didn't know anything about it.
Yeah,
So
is it Becky? Becky was his?
Okay, as long as you're talking
Yep.
with someone in
Yep.
the staff, then it will be taken care of. And
Yeah.
again, we need to make sure in that contract that we're holding him not liable. I mean, as he's saying, he's doing it with the best of his ability
Mm-hmm.
to stop the mold problems, but there is no guarantees in this process.
He put the
We-
contract together, it was his contract, so once we got it back with the name change on it, because, Derek
Okay.
had said we needed to change it, it'll go back to his review, but.
Do we still want to consider staying off the steam cleaning of the building until after this is done?
I'd like to know a little more about what they're, I mean, I don't know a lot about construction and this type of unique work, but would want to know a little more about how that's going to happen, because maybe that will be a waste of, I mean, I don't know if they got to run hoses or,
It is my knowledge that everything is going to be on the inside. They're going to have to tear the drywall down, which is on the inside of the building in the basement. Some of the first and second floors, but it's all going to be inside. And then what they'll do is they will run hoses down the flower pots with water, and then just look to see where it's leaking at on the inside. I don't think on the outside there's going to be anything visibly.
impact.
Any impact on it, and it just is getting blacker and blacker.
yeah.
So,
I suppose if it's not gonna impact, the construction's not gonna impact that, then
No,
we should get it on
I don't
somebody's
think
schedule
so.
because everything seems to be taking a lot longer than thought. So, yeah, I would say we can,
I know the mayor keeps
who are we
calling
gonna have
in,
do that?
doesn't
Did we have
like
anybody
the,
lined up?
The only one that had given us a quote was,
Larry,
Yep.
Brian Vaughn,
And
I
you were
think that
gonna-
was $8,000 or something.
it ended
like
up
that.
being higher than what he had originally had told you, so we were gonna check on that, and then we just put it on a hold, because we were gonna do construction.
I'll be glad to
Somebody
have
ought,
him sharpen his pencil.
somebody ought to be able to wash it cheaper than that, I would think.
We can call around.
Could the fire
We just-
department squirt it?
I think
Okay, pretend it's on
you'd
fire.
have to use a chemical on it too to,
Well, I would say let's start checking on someone to do that and see if we can.
Maybe by then we'll know when Lenny's gonna be
Yeah.
in there too. By
Okay,
the time we get the firm price.
all right. The aggregation,
Just wanted to update if you get any calls from Clinton residents or Big Springs that IGS is sending out it's with our letterhead, the opt-out letters. I had a couple calls yesterday asking if it was ours, if it was legitimate, because with the whole deregulation, all residents have been getting calls like that to switch over to something, and
Okay.
so the opt-out letters have gone out. So if you get any calls, just let them know that yes, that is the program that they voted on and that we're proceeding with, and the letters have gone out.
I have
So-
gotten a couple calls. Can I see the opt-out letter so I can actually see
I'll get a copy of it, yes.
myself?
Yep.
Because people were asking me about it and I didn't know which way to tell them other than, I didn't
Yep.
know it was really an opt-out letter. So everybody is in unless you opt out.
Yep.
And I'd like to see the letter.
Okay.
And I don't know why they would opt out, because it'd be a cheaper rate, but that's certainly their
Yep. Their
prerogative.
option. Yep.
Change is always scary.
Yeah, yeah,
And they voted on it. Their residents voted on it out there to proceed with it. So,
right, right.
but I'll get you a copy of the letter.
right? That's it on that list. Let's start in with the bill vouchers.
Okay, I have bill vouchers 72 and 73. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund, putting $300,000 into contract services. Tanya has gone over our bills for utilities, and we pay utilities and repairs out of this contract service line. And due to we've been doing a lot of improvements, the painting, different things, a lot of improvements to the buildings, a lot of repairs to the buildings. And she did an estimate of where we were at compared to last year. And one is the phones, because our Centrex, AT&T Centrex contract has expired, and they have put us into a crazy amount. They increased our bill from $4,000 to $16,000 a month, and because it's out of contract, and we're working on moving away from AT&T, but unfortunately, the process isn't as quickly as what we'd like, because we gotta make sure, we've done our building, and we still have a little static on our building, so I don't wanna change anybody else's building, not knowing if it's gonna, I don't want any problems with any other.
Yeah.
So our bills went up from 4 to 16?
Yep, or AT&T, just the one AT&T phone bill.
AT&T just has been totally uncooperative with us forever.
Yep.
They can't tell us how many lines we have, they can't help us when we have a problem, they didn't tell us when our contract was due to expire, so that's why we're moving with Time Warner.
Yeah, this is a
little at
month?
This is
4
a
to
month.
16?
Yep.
And
We need to get that solved in 1 month.
And she had communicated with them prior to that jump occurring, because I
Yes.
talked to Tanya about that.
Yep.
And they didn't get back with us.
And we've changed
Yeah.
salesmen, representatives 3 times, and we don't even know who the new one is. They keep saying they'll contact us when they get it set, they'll contact us, but they are very hard to work with, and the only thing with the Centrex bill, it affects every phone line, and if we just switch it over, I I hate paying the 16,000, but we'd affect, if something goes wrong, we're gonna affect every single building, including the sheriff's office, the courthouse, the RTA building, switching over and
Yeah.
I know the amount is, but I don't think we can.
Is there any
just-
reason why it would take longer than a month to make the switch? I hate like this to drag on.
Right.
2, 3, 4 months. I mean, that's,
The idea was to switch like one building at a time.
Right.
And make sure
And ours has
everything's
only
up
been
and
switched
running.
for less than 2 weeks now.
Yes, yep,
And then get the phone lines cleaned up, because we think there are more lines in each building than we're actually using.
right,
But we can't run it down. So the Time Warner is gonna help us building by building get that,
yeah.
not just lower the bill, but some lines.
Yeah. And Jerry's doing a physical inventory, so I know exactly what lines are going into the building, and those are the only lines we're gonna move. The rest, once they reveal themselves on the bill, because I'm sure they're gonna still bill us for it, those are the ones we'll be canceling that we don't need.
I wanna move as quickly as we can,
Right.
but I'm afraid if we jump on with both feet, all of a sudden we got everybody in every building mad at you, and
No phones working. Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah.
Yep, so, that's where we are. We've paid, did she say 2 months on the phone bill now?
Yeah.
Gas, because of the harsh January and February we had, our gas is up, the average is up. So she's anticipating needing that amount for the rest of the year. Hopefully we won't need all that if we get these phones moved over very quickly, as quickly as we can get them all moved over. So, I just have, Tanya has a spreadsheet with the averages that we've had for this year and for last year. And the big expenses are the repairs, the gas, and then the phones. So, that's a little bit of,
that will come off your unappropriated balance, that
Correct.
300,000. So.
we do have a little that we could have moved out of contingencies, but it wouldn't have been enough.
Mhm.
So this is definitely unexpected, because she does a very good job at estimating what the utilities were gonna be. And this year was the one, we actually got it as close as we thought it would be, but we have been doing a lot of repairs to the buildings.
We have.
It was unexpected, but we've
Yes.
approved these things as we went along, like the
Right.
phones, so
Yep.
Yeah.
it wasn't completely.
Yep. She's getting an average right now. Last year at this time, we were averaging about $58,000 a month for all of the bills that we pay out of there, and we're up to 84. And, 16 of it right off the bat is AT&T, so. So that's what that one is. Just figured I'd give a little bit of information while I was on it.
Yeah.
I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund for 2014. This is into the postage account. We have everything on our meter, and we needed some left to cover when we get return, somebody rejects a letter or something like that, we need a miscellaneous postage, and that was out. We didn't put another one. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment with the Capital Projects Fund 215, moving $29,675 from contingencies to the jail. I spoke to, you had asked me to have Earl check out the sheriff's quotes for the boiler up to the jail, and he has verbally told me that to switch those out, to change those out to new boilers are gonna be 3 times the cost of what it's gonna be to have this gentleman change the tubes in them. So, in anticipation, I haven't got the final quotes on the other two, but anticipation, we're gonna move forward to get the boiler fixed, because we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
This is moving the money, but as soon as we get the contracts and the quotes, it'll go through. This is just putting the money in place. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Public Assistance Fund 030, moving their $61,968.50 from the Public Assistance General Fund to the county share of the 030. I have a supplement to the permit appropriations for the poll worker training grant fund 214, putting $5,410 into salary precinct workers.
What is this for? I mean, I've heard there's been some issues with poll workers not being paid or so forth, is that?
Yes,
This
that is
year?
this. They got the money approved of Budget Commission and the money in for the training, so this is putting it in place so they can get it.
Okay.
They can get it paid
So the
out.
poll workers can be paid?
Yes.
And some of that money, is there something comes from the state for that, for the training? But this was training they did for the primary, so why they didn't ask for that for the primary, I don't know, but that should have been in place, and then they would be pushing it now.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Okay, I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Public Assistance Fund, 030, putting 200,000 into their public assistance line. I have a resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with Perkin Paving Incorporated for the Seneca County Road 5, County Road 13, and County Road 19 pavement project. And I have a resolution authorizing Holly Stacy, President of the Board, to sign the Ohio Public Works Commission project agreement for Ohio Local Transportation Improvement Program, contract 05R. And that's all I have.
Move we approve.
Seconded.
a motion and a second to approve all the resolutions as presented. Any questions? Additional information needed on anything? Anybody? Okay, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved, thank you. Okay, next at 10:15, so we're pretty close to being on target. Simon Roofing, and I'm gonna guess that's who just walked in.
Yes,
Good timing.
yes.
Hi, you can come forward or sit there, whatever you wanna do. Get some information for us.
Yeah, basically what we do, we're a full-service roofing manufacturer. So what we do is we supply the materials for all your roofing, waterproofing needs. The difference between us and regular roofing contractors is that we help write specifications based on the building, so that when you actually start taking things out to bid, you're actually getting apples to apples comparisons. We start from the beginning helping you with things as small as leaks to full roof replacements. The one thing that we kind of do is we take the whole project from start to finish, so we're actually there from the first leak to writing the specifications. We'll bring in contractors, and we're actually the person who gives you the warranty. So we're the person who takes all the risk for the full 20 or 30 years, whatever you get. Typically, when you just run through, say a contractor, they're on the hook for 2 years. After 2 years, I'm sure you ran into issues where everyone starts pointing fingers at everyone whose fault is it that the roof is leaking. We're actually the people who will stand behind what we're putting on there and actually get it fixed. The process that we go through in the beginning is what helps eliminate all those issues. I'm sure you're aware that planning is probably the most important part. So by planning, documenting, then issuing the warranty, things like that, we actually kind of assure that you're going to get what you actually put out to bid. That's another big issue that runs into roofing a lot too, is a lot of times people don't even really know what's going on the roof. If you guys were to say, we have a building, it needs to have the roof replaced, get 3 bids. There's so many different materials that can go down from mod bit to coal tar pitch to PVC. You could be getting 3 different bids for PVC, one for an alveoli, and one for coal tar pitch, where the price difference is literally, it could be up to $30 a square foot down to 6 or 7. So you're not actually getting apples to apples bids. What we do is try to come in, team up with you guys, and kind of become a good, reliable resource for you in terms of roofing, so that we're actually making sure that you guys are getting all apples to apples bids and getting exactly what you want. Our first goal, first and foremost, is always to extend the roof life of what you have. And in every case, it doesn't work, but that's what our first actual primary goal is to do. we can come in, do assessments, do full reports, and help you get budgets for, down to 5 to 10 years. 10 years is a little hard for roofs, especially in our climate. Last winter destroyed a lot of people's roofing just because of how cold it was. So what we can help do is establish budgets down from 5 years, down from the smallest, hey, next year you need to replace a flashing for $1,500, and 2 years after that you have to replace a roof for $500,000. What we do is just try to become your partner and make sure that you guys are getting all your needs met for the roofing and try and stay ahead of the game. Usually once we get ahead of the game by doing those small repairs, you actually reduce your replacement costs because we're actually getting ahead in terms of becoming proactive instead of reactive, which happens a lot. Most people with their leaks, it's, hey, I got a leak, let's fix it. We try to get you to the point where you actually don't have that many leaks because we're fixing them ahead of the game. A lot of times you can go up on a roof and see what needs to be fixed before water even gets into the building. So that's basically what we do. So we're a full service provider instead of just a contractor. We help you select the materials. We have a wide variety of materials. We actually put the material to the building, not what we're comfortable with. A lot of contractors will come in. Most contractors bid one specific material because they put it down daily, so they're not comfortable with other materials. What we try to do is actually fit the material to your building. There's different variables that can come in. There's metal deck, wood deck. Wood deck, you obviously don't want to have a torch up on a wood deck blowing flames all over the place. Buildings burn down that way, and it happens. If you pay attention, it happens often. So we do things like that. Even roof traffic. If you have a roof that it's a flat roof, no penetrations, you're going to be better off going with the cheaper material because people aren't going to walk on it. If you have hospitals will put built-up roofs and put another secondary roof on top of it because they have billions of dollars of machinery under it. So we help you design the roof according to the building and the needs that you need. Rather than just come in and say, I put down, EPDM all day long, so this is the best thing since sliced bread. It's really a variable on what the building does, how it's constructed, and we help kind of become your professional and what's going on, and then take those things out to bid and help you try and stay dry and extend your budget.
I don't think you said, what's your name?
David Betlieski, I'm sorry.
That's right, that's
I have
right.
not.
David, so you do these kinds of things on a retainer or on a project-by-project basis?
Project by project. How we go about it is, how we get paid is actually when our material is used. So when we do inspections, when we look at buildings, it's all at no cost. We want to build a relationship with you, so a lot of that stuff we do for free, in order to show you, one, that we know what we're doing, and two, we want to build a relationship so that you're eventually going to be using our material, which is, we always try to make sure that we're using the correct material. A lot of people don't even know, say you have an EPDM roof, which is like the black rubber roof. We see contractors go up all day long and put mastic on it, which is for a built-up roof, and they don't even know that mastic eats EPDM. So we fix things like that all the time. So that's where we really come in handy, is going literally roof by roof, not even project by project. You might have, even on a small building, you might have 3 different types of roofing. So it could literally be roof by roof, not even project by project.
Are there some other counties or governmental groups that you've worked with?
As a whole, we've worked everywhere. We've had GSA contracts. I know our parent company does the USPS. We have that project or that account right now. In the Cleveland area, we're just getting started. This is probably my 4th year, so I don't have too many counties that we work with here. Our company as a whole, we've probably worked with over 6. We're nationwide, so we've worked with counties all over the country.
Yeah.
So even if I don't have the answer, I have somebody who has the answer.
Yeah.
We're backed up.
Any
Are
other
you,
questions for
are
him?
you familiar with Palmer Energy?
Palmer Energy?
Palmer, yeah.
No, I've never heard of it.
That's a group that we have hired to look at our energy usage in our building and to make the buildings more energy efficient.
Okay,
And it seems to me that what you're suggesting and offering is a similar service that we deal with Palmer Energy, where they come and they assess all of our roofs, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's my assumption.
Well, Palmer actually did the roofs too.
Yeah, well, I mean, they assess the
lot of
quality
times-
of our roofs, and then they've made recommendations as to when they need replaced.
Yeah.
They will then let it out for bid, put specifications in, let it out for bid. So I believe what you're proposing is a system that we already have in place.
Currently.
That's my understanding of it.
yeah, if they're doing that with the roofing as
Yeah.
well, a lot of times energy does tie in the roofing. There's kind of a debate whether or not white roofs are good here, just because we have more heating months than cooling months.
Mhm.
But a lot of times roof is always played in the numbers for energy. So it sounds like they may be doing
Yeah,
exactly the
I
same
mean,
thing.
and they've assessed all of our buildings and when it needs to be replaced and set up a plan and actually let it out for bid, put specifications in, and we're kind of following that plan. I know with the CSB building there.
Got a 3-year plan for
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
They'll
and
have
so
a 20-year
I
plan.
believe what you're proposing is something that we're already in the process of utilizing.
Okay.
So, appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I
Leave
appreciate
your
the time.
information in case something happens.
Yeah.
And they,
Yeah,
they fall
absolutely.
through with us or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I'll leave all my cards for everyone and hope they mess up.
And we're hopeful they don't.
I know. I hope they don't for you too.
Thank you again.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
Sharing your information. All right. Anything else for the good of the order that anyone here has?
I had those
Oh, yeah, you had
couple
2 more
things.
things we had. I'm sorry.
Very,
I
very-
just ignored you.
Very, I'm used to it. Very minor things. Farm owners, not owners, farm renters out there, there's a couple mulberry trees growing along the fence line between the engineer and us, and didn't know if that was their responsibility to cut them down or if we had maintenance do that. And I said, heck, I don't know. They're the small mulberry trees. Is that
Yeah.
something Dean could, and the crew could take down when they're not busy?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are mulberries
We'll just have
edible?
They're messing up the fence.
They're
too.
edible, but they're not desirable.
Can't say I've ever seen a mulberry. So.
They spread fast because the birds plant new trees all the time and end up usually in fence rows and they grow out into the field. It's not a big deal, but if he could take it down.
Where are they
whenever.
at?
Between the engineer's line and the cornfield.
So in that back there?
If you drive back the farm lane,
Okay.
there's a garage there right across from the FSA office.
Mhm.
Just look down that line, where the engineer piles his stone, kind of right
Okay,
behind his
okay.
stone piles.
All right, okay. Yeah, I'll have Dean go out and look at it and get it down.
And then no rush on that. They just,
Okay.
when the little thing with the water made them nervous, they didn't want to do something they were not
Oh.
approved to do. The other thing, County Commissioners Association called me and asked if I would facilitate a meeting with Mr. Reineke and them, and want to make sure that was okay with the board before we did that. They're assuming Reineke's going to win the election, and they wanted to, well, I think that's a pretty safe assumption. They wanted to get in the end with him.
Yeah.
So I said if it was
Absolutely.
okay with the board, I would just call Bill and see if I could set something up with
Yeah.
maybe a couple of the commissioners.
He's not running unopposed, is he?
No,
No.
but it's about as sure as you
That's
can get.
that's pretty far assumption.
In the 88th district, I don't.
For an
think so.
open election.
He didn't say it, CCAO said it, right?
No, they said they're sure.
I don't know if we can publicize that. If I was the opponent, I'd probably be a little ticked.
Okay, I'll set.
Sure, go ahead.
That's all I had.
All right.
Something I just thought, I had a meeting, was over in Fostoria last week, and the Hearst, the guy, the Opportunity Center.
Lou.
Lou, okay, and Mayor Keckler and we talked about the building that Lou, the Opportunity Center wanted to vacate.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone's in agreement now, and it's not that they're basically gonna vacate the building, they're trying to look at changing ownership for the liability issues there, so it would still remain there, the services would still remain in Fostoria, so I know the mayor was happy, and I think Lou was happy, and so I think, you know, long as the legal part of it, and there's some issues there that we have to deal with, what we can, because I guess we own the building, right?
Yes.
What we can legally do to give it to, as this bidding process, and that's really where it stands, but I know as far as the city of Fostoria, Opportunity Center and everyone, they seem to all be in agreement with that and seem to be fine with it, so
Okay.
I think that's
So do
water
we
over the
need
dam.
to, they still want to change the ownership?
Yes.
We need to inquire with Derek
I
then
got
as-
it. Yep,
as
he's
how
got
to
it.
do that, okay?
Yep,
Okay.
he's checking
Yes.
into that.
Yeah,
And if we reserve the right to reject all bids, then if Jim's Pawn Shop gets the high bid, we can always reject that.
yeah, whatever, I mean, so the other entities are fine moving forward.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, we gotta look at the legal part of it.
Yep, I sent that to Derek right after they were in here, so.
Okay, thank you.
Besides that, they had a great, it was a brown bag lunch. They had, I don't know what it was, a Wednesday or something like that. It really is a nice event. There was 100 and some people attending it.
Good. Okay. You have anything else? Nikki, anything for us? Okay, citizens' comments at this time. Anything from the general public? Seeing none. Hi, how are you, Mr. Parker?
Non-eventful day.
Do we have a new reporter or just?
Nick,
He's the
Nick,
old
are you
one that's
covering,
coming
or you missed us, or?
I did. I missed you guys. And I told her to take the day off. She'd just take the week off, I told her, and I'll come in.
We knew you'd miss us eventually.
I did. I just can't get her to go away, so I had to.
We're addicted. We gotta have it.
That's it.
All right, if there's no, take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I looked at Nikki like she was gonna make the motion. Nikki's going, sure. Motion and second, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned, 10:33. Thank you.